What is going on here, creative? So here's what we have today. So I have this story submission form created in Bolt.com or Bolt.new, and we're just gonna click a random story here, and the mystery lyrical. Let's make it surreal. Okay, so we have this random story here, so I'm going to go ahead and submit the story, and you can see my webhook is going. Bolt is going to OpenAI, and then it goes to Google Docs, and now we have a new form there. So if we come over and let's go to Google Docs. Let's see if I just, okay. And here is the story. All right. So we've actually automated generating a story. So that's what I want to show you. How do we do this? How do we automate story generation? And with the idea that we're going to go further with this. So let's talk about what the full story is here. When it comes to the creative process, we can decide how to scale and automate which parts of it. So this is just the story engine workflow, but the complete story workflow includes using Bolt and Make.com OpenAI to generate a story. And you can create whatever human elements in between to monitor this and create the best story. But the idea of it is we're going to automate some of this. Once we've created the story, as with my previous videos, being able to scale the image creation is one of the things that we want to look at. And so we're going to use Make.com, Flux, and the S3 bucket from AWS to automate the creation of the images. Once we have the images created, then we're going to look at getting the voiceover, generating from 11 Labs. We'll look at sound design, general effects, background music, and then we will also look at the final edits, and that includes getting the videos. So this is the full workflow. When we talk about a story engine workflow, we're going to automate parts of this using all of these different tools that we have at our disposal. The first thing in doing something like this is actually going to your Google Sheets and laying out the spreadsheet. Getting the spreadsheet design is the first step. So this is what I did. I did my character description, character name, settings, theme, genre, style, story overview, story ending. So kept it real basic in this process, but in a real environment, this would probably have a lot more to it because I may even have chapters and stuff. But this is the basic layout. And now that I have this, the next thing I'm going to do is go over to Make.com. And there's a lot of stuff here with Make. Actually, I think Make is fairly simple. And what we're only going to deal with right now are scenarios. And that's mostly what you deal with Make.com. I haven't touched any of this other stuff. Just go into scenarios. We have the story engine. You come here and the first thing you do is go ahead and create the webhook. And that is just a matter of coming in, add a module, and search for webhooks. And you want custom webhooks, not the custom mail hook. You want a custom webhook. So you're going to assign it here. You get the webhook. So you have your webhook and you have your Google Sheet. The same way we want to develop in Bolt, this doesn't change. The difference with this is because we're only creating a form, we have to write the PRD. And we're going to be using the webhook, and we're going to use the Google Sheet structure And if we go here, you can see that this is really straightforward. Here's the overview. Here's what we're looking at. This is what the form should look like, how it's structured, the front end and everything like that, no back end. And we just take this document and give it over to Bolt. We have everything going. We have the PRD. We submit the PRD, and you can see over here, here's the PRD. Here's the roadmap. So this way that Bolt has a really good idea of what to create. And it created this form. There was not a lot of back and forth in creating this form. The only thing I asked for was to give me a random story generator, and that was just for the sake of the video. For the sake of the video, I just wanted to be able to have one click, submit, it generates a story. All right. But if we look here, the main thing of this is that we have the form. If we go to components and go to form, the thing we want to check is the hook. This is the webhook. So this is what's connected to make.com. So it's just taking all of this, and you can see what it's doing. It's sending back all of this content. It's sending back the form to make.com. So when we go to make.com, it's sending that information here. We can then start adding in our other nodes. So the next node to connect to is Google Sheets, and we're going to add a row. So every time we submit the form, we're going to add a row to our Google Sheets. We're going to have it is connector. We pick from a path. We pick the drive. We come in here, we look for the spreadsheet. It's called 11 Labs. The sheet name, it has headers, and you can see it's pulling this in, but we don't have the webhook connected to it. But if we come over to here, you can see that we're connected to that webhook. Here are the fields that's coming in from the webhook. So here's the information coming in from the webhook. You can see it has the romance, noir, all of this information in. You just simply grab this and slide it into the fields. Once you have that filled out, you hit save. And now we can just add in our OpenAI. Now I've already connected my OpenAI to Make, but this is straightforward as well. Okay, so we're using ChatGPT. I'm using ChatGPT Mini. We have a user. We have the context. We have a system. And then we have, this is the information that we're sending. We want OpenAI to take all of this information and write the story. So once it's written a story, then we connect it to our Google Doc. Come into Google Doc and you can see that what I'm looking for is the story engine, the name of the file that we're going to create, the story engine, and then the ID. The content is the result. So we want the result from OpenAI as part of our content. And then we save it to a drive. We save it into a subfolder called Stories. And then that's where all of our drives get saved. Okay. This is a fairly straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and delete these nodes here. But this is a fairly simple AI. Now, when do we run this? I have it turned on. The scenario is going to run immediately. There's some other options at regular intervals We don't want to do that day of the week, day of the month, on demand. Okay, so I said immediate because as soon as I submit the form, I wanted to immediately create this. Now, what I've done is that I've went ahead and saved this so I can export this blueprint. And so if you want to, you can just go in and do an import, and it'll import all of this from this whole structure here, and you can use it and just fill it out. The one thing you need to be mindful of is as you're doing this, number one, get your Google spreadsheet, get Bolt, create the webhook, and then go ahead and hit run. So before you add in other components, what you want to do is come over here, get your form ready, hit run once over here, and then submit your story. And what this is going to do is that you can see over here, this highlight here, it's going to bring in your information, allowing you to then, when you add in your Google Sheet to add a row, you can map it to the webhook. The process again is do that. And then once you have that information, you can then just continually add this in. What I'm going to provide you guys with is the template for the make.com. I will give you the PRD for Bolt. And so those two things together should allow you to recreate this relatively easy. And then on the next one, we will talk about getting into Flux. And that one is, when we talk about scenarios, we will talk about the connecting to replicate. And we will then actually discuss, is this worth it? Is doing this worth the effort versus writing the code? So that'll be in the next video we'll talk about here. All right, so go ahead and make that, and we will have the next step 2 in the next few days.